Hello again, everyone. I'm Richard Weil, and I'm the principal and owner of National Restaurant Consultants. And we appreciate everybody taking the time to join us on the NRC Helpful Moment. This is number 80.
Number
This is
80.
the number 80. And today we're, of course, joined by Mr. Brian Devine, the president of Top Line Management and Cafe Fuel. Brian, welcome. I understand you are back east in
Yes,
near
sir.
Saratoga, New York, on a
Yes.
lake with 90% humidity and just it's sweat
Yeah.
zone. And then
We
our
got to do
wonderful
this
vice
fast
president
before the flop sweat
yeah,
starts. So
and our vice president of operations, Jared Flowers, is in Gilbert, Arizona, and where it's probably what 110 there today, Jared.
Yeah, about that. And we actually
110.
have humidity, which we normally don't have, but the monsoons are here, so it's even worse.
So,
but yeah, what do we do?
I'm up above Telluride, Colorado, at about 9,800 feet above sea level, and it is 55 degrees and raining here. And so, yeah, you guys can just enjoy. So today on the NRC Helpful Moment, we're going to talk about some menu engineering. And Jared is an expert on menu engineering. Jared's background, of course, I think a lot of people know, is culinary as well as operations and management and senior management level. But I thought it would be very timely to talk about what restaurateurs, now that a lot of them are reopened and hopefully we don't get the closures, though we are seeing some of that again, is why it's so critical to be looking at the menu engineering piece. So Jared, if you would please take it away.
Absolutely. And, you know, the unfortunate piece is I only have a few minutes to chat, because I think this menu engineering piece is something that we could all talk about. Richard, especially you being a chef and with your background, we could do this for hours. But the reality is we can look at it negative or we can look at it positive. And I think the reality is, because of COVID and some of the shutdowns, we as operators, have an excellent opportunity to make some changes that we didn't think we could do before. You know, we were afraid of running off gas. We were afraid of changing who we were as a concept as operators. But right now we have a really cool opportunity to kind of reinvent ourselves or look at that product mix. You know, what items are driving more money to the bottom line, because that's really important, and B, how much labor are we spending making the dishes and the prep and all of the things that we're doing. So working with our purveyors and finding maybe some pre-made products that are just as good. Let's get some samples in. Let's see what we can do. But we don't want to change our identity, but we certainly want to be able to minimize our risk of waste. You know, with COVID, how much food are we throwing in the trash? How much time are we wasting on labor with preparation and space management and all of the things? So if we can dial down a 40-item menu to a 25-item menu, I think that that's really individually going to have to take some thought, right? So it's easy for me to tell you, our national restaurant consultants to tell you that you should be at a 20-item menu. At the same time, everybody's going to be a little different, but you have to look at what your product mix is, what's selling, what's not, what's the most labor intensive, what's actually bringing money to the bottom line, and what's going to still represent your brand. We don't want you to change who you are, but you can minimize how much you work to show people who you are, if that makes sense.
So Jared, what do you think is the starting point? Do you think it's the point of sale system pulling a product mix, talking to your vendor that you're buying perhaps 70, 80% of your products from, looking at perhaps some of the forecasts as far as commodities and products, or just even taking a look or talking to your guests and finding out, you know, what's going on, and I guess also talking to your servers and talking to your cooks. But what's the first step to get started on that process, do you think?
Absolutely. I think there's three pieces in order. I think the point of sale is definitely what's going to show us what we're selling and what we're not. And the stuff that people aren't buying, let's get it out of the way for now. I think the second piece is talking to our purveyors and finding out, can we get a product that is just as good as what we're making from somewhere else? Or is there, again, maybe there's a ready-to-eat product that's the same as our fresh-made product that we can do and save some labor without sacrificing quality. And again, and then lastly, I think the third piece is talking to our guests. What are they looking for? You know, what do we need to be serving our guests to keep them coming in? Because if we shave our menu down too far, we're going to run people off, and then we've sort of spoiled the whole idea of what we're trying to do. But you know, we've had clients in the past, and we've talked to operators for years, that we said, listen, the chicken fried steak isn't popular. No one wants to eat it. And I'm just using that as an example. And the operator says, well, if I take the chicken fried steak off, everyone's going to freak out. And we run a product mix report, and we find out that they've served 3 chicken fried steaks in the last month. So everyone's not going to freak out. We just have to be honest with ourselves as operators and look at the data, but still not change who we are as operators and our brand. You know, if we're a British pub, we can't get rid of bangers and mash. Like, that's just a reality. We have to still have that. But if we're a sandwich shop, we could probably get rid of the pizza. I'm just saying, you know, there's certain things that we could do to trim the fat, so to speak.
Yeah, one of the things that we often get a pushback from clients across country is that it was grandma's recipe, it was Aunt Sarah's recipe, it was Uncle Henry's recipe. And the fact of the matter is, we respect that. Of course we do. But if it's not making money, especially post-COVID here or during COVID, you need to make sure you're doing the right things to stay profitable. I'm going to pivot real quick to Brian, because it really also does well with what we're talking about with the online ordering and the lists and things like that. So Brian, if you would pile on a little bit here, what Jared has been talking about.
Yeah, thanks, Jared.
And real quick, sorry to interrupt, but as Brian, please. Right before you start, I'm sorry. The last piece, and I forgot to add this, was this is also a perfect opportunity for restaurants to add specials. And I'm only interrupting you, Brian, because I think this is a perfect key in for you to tee up on the marketing piece. Specials is a perfect opportunity to allow your staff to be creative and put out new stuff that doesn't have to be on the everyday menu. And so, again, if you have that grandma or grandpa's recipe or Aunt Mary's recipe, that's a cool Monday, Tuesday, whatever you want to do special, but you have to market it the right way. And so, Brian, I digress and I apologize again, but I'll leave it to you there to take over from that part.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jared, because that's 100% right, where if you're going to run a special and nobody knows about it yet, then, right, are people going to come and be excited about it? No. So let them know about it. And if you have been building your list of happy patrons over the last few months, like we're telling you, then you have people that you could reach out to immediately and say, hey, this coming Friday, we're going to do this amazing special, and because you're on our VIP list, it's only going to be this much, and we're going to make sure that we save this many for these people. So let us know if you're going to come in, or let us, go ahead and order now. I mean, the marketing side of this is so powerful when especially like Jared said, with you can do a special and you can reach out to the people that want your specials, and you can do that directly. So make sure that you're building your list. The other thing that I want to touch on, because if you're listening to Jared and you're thinking, changing my menu, then I got to reprint, and then I got to put some PDF or something on my website, how am I going to do all this? Take advantage of the free online menu that we have for you. It is free, I promise. It works brilliantly, and if you want more bells and whistles with it, yes, there are some fees along with that, so I don't want to pretend like it's always free. But if you just want an online menu that you can change in a moment's notice, because if you're listening to Jared and you're thinking, okay, well, let's cut this down and let's make sure that menu is now online and it's now on my website and it's on Facebook, I don't want you to think that's going to take a whole lot of time, effort, and money. It's not. Just take a few minutes, update the menu online, you're done. And then that can be extremely powerful. And then you can promote it through Facebook, promote it to your list. I think, things are moving so fast, and that's why we wanted to give you this free option. And it really can be free forever if you just wanted to do that one thing where you can always have a beautiful, really well set up online menu that will look extremely professional. It's not like a PDF that you're trying to see on your phone. It is designed to work beautifully on phones, 100% free. And Jared, I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm hearing the menu engineering, and what happens to me is that I think, hey, could Jared put together like the top 3 things to think about when you're looking at your menu, or the top 5 that you can say, hey, think about your menu this way, and then these are the 1, 2, 3, as many as you think is appropriate, Jared, that we can give people so that they can take that information from you and actually implement it right now, and then obviously reach out to you with questions as they happen. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I wasn't prepared for that, but absolutely. I think what's really important is for every operator to look at their concept. And the very first piece that they should look at is when I decided to open a restaurant and I decided to open this concept, what was going to be my signature dish? What was my platform? There's one dish that they had in mind when they opened the restaurant. That dish should be there all the time. There should also be a dish that caters to people with food allergies or insensitivities. So whether that be a vegan, a vegetarian, or a gluten-free, we want to make sure that we're fully inclusive no matter whether we're a fast casual or a fine dine restaurant. We need to have something that everyone can eat. And the last piece is assuming, we're not a bar or nightclub, we need to have something that kids like. So as long as we have those 3 items that fall underneath the conceptual idea of what we're doing as a restaurant, we can build everything else around that. But it has to be profitable. It has to make sense. It has to make sense from a labor perspective, from a supply chain perspective, and use your vendors. Your vendors can bring you samples, supplies, ideas, so many things if an operator is willing to take the time to reach out to them. And if they're not, we have Sandy on staff, we have Richard, we have myself, who have years of experience working with vendors and supply chain. We're happy to call them too. And let the vendors do their job and find the way to make your menu make sense for your profitability and for your restaurant.
I'm going to kind of close this with maybe 3 testimonials that we've just recently done. One, a client in Illinois, we just were able to, with two restaurants, not high volume restaurants in either one of them, but we got very close to $100,000 annualized savings through a menu engineering profitability review of their prime vendor relationships. $100,000 a year for 3 years. That's $300,000 in the restaurateur's pocket over the next 3 years. That's one. 2, on the free side of things, we just helped a client, and I just heard from them today. Yes, I am in Telluride, but a client in Telluride, thrilled still, the Floridora,
Yes.
thrilled with what we did for them a month or so ago to help them reopen, and doing touchless, contactless payment and the geocodes. It's seamless, and they're just, the Canes are thrilled with what they're doing. And then the last piece is we just launched for a 5-unit regional on how to help them get their marketing and top line management through our contact with National Restaurant Consultants, is managing their rebranding, reopening of marketing. And they've gone from where they were 42% of last year's sales 2 weeks ago when we launched, to where they've climbed up to 70% of their sales from last year in 2 weeks by using the lists, getting the words out correctly, using the social media, and being relevant again to their customer base. And we believe that we're going to be able to, we believe we're going to get it close to 80, 82% here with social distancing. And of course, in most restaurants, they can only put either 50 people or 50% capacity. And in Colorado, they can only put 50 people in the restaurant max. So these things work, ladies and gentlemen. They do work. And yes, we are here to help. We're always glad to lend an ear at no cost, but at the same time, we can help you become very profitable. So that's our helpful moment for today. Jared, anything else? Brian, anything else?
I think we wrapped it up well. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
Bye
Thanks,
for now.
guys. Thanks for the time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.